Hello everybody, my name is George Eldy from Wines by Nature, and we're lucky enough today to have Eric Lomando of Orto.
Thanks, George, for having us.
Oh,
Great.
good to see you again.
Definitely.
How are things?
Things are very well. Can't complain.
Good, good, good.
Yeah, staying busy, working, simplifying life a little bit. It's all good.
So Eric has a restaurant Orto, a rustic style Italian restaurant in Miller Place. Can you give us a quick description of what Orto is about?
Orto is my interpretation of Italian cuisine on Long Island. So we try to think of the cuisine is informed by the way what we think an Italian person would cook if they came to Long Island. So instead of trying to replicate food as it is in Italy, we think that like they keep their food as regional as possible. So we try to do the same thing. We cook with Italian techniques, Italian methods, but try to use as much local food and product as possible to keep it, almost more traditional without trying to just go and constantly replicate, like classic Italian dishes per se. We do everything there every day, pretty much from scratch, with the exclusion of making ice cream. We make our own bread, we make all of our own pastas every day. Everything else is done pretty much on premise, and we're constantly, trying to search out the best and finest ingredients, and that's really what Orto's all about.
Yeah, I met Eric when I was a sales rep, and I sold him wines through the different generations of different restaurants he've had. And I always remembered that your menu was always on a sheet of paper, not a lot of descriptors to it, but you're always like, okay, I have to print up today's menu or something. So you do a lot of changes on the fly, and you're
every day the menu changes. It allows us to be almost hyper seasonal, which just we can constantly just change things. We're not committed to we have this on the menu, we have to keep making it regardless of the quality. So all of a sudden, as the seasons start to shift, it's like we can respond a little more quickly than a lot of places. Like, okay, the pears don't taste good anymore, get them off the menu, let's switch over. Like, maybe spring fruits aren't here yet, but we can choose not to serve fruit or citrus or something like that instead. So it gives us a level of flexibility that I think is paramount to serving the best food.
Yeah, I think it's, when tomatoes are in season on Long Island, they're awesome. Asparagus, and the ramps come out always in the spring. There's always that fun type of things, and nothing's better than some of the root vegetables in the fall.
Yeah, and then sometimes even some of those root vegetables when they winter over, it's like some of the things you're mentioning, like we try to only serve like when they are at their peak, so that it's almost like makes it even more special. Like John has his asparagus farm over here, so like we try to really only serve asparagus when he's growing it, when his asparagus is coming up, because it's like at that point I know, it was cut that morning 10 miles away from my restaurant, and now it's on my plate, and it makes asparagus something special. So it's like we try not to just buy asparagus from all over. And we do the same thing with tomatoes. Like we grow, we have a garden at home. We grow 75 heirloom tomato plants, and it's like we try to serve tomatoes fresh in August and late July when they're growing in our backyard, and then not serve fresh tomatoes the rest of the year. And it's funny because you get someone in January and they want tomatoes in their salad. Like, I don't have fresh tomatoes. We just don't have them, so I can't give them to you because there's something special about a tomato that just came off the vine in August, where that hothouse grown cardboard thing that they call a tomato in January it's just not worth eating.
Agreed. How did you develop this passion for food and working in the kitchen?
It's a handful of things. I mean, first I grew up with a mother that's a terrible cook. She's a horrible cook. She thought it was okay to mix different shapes of pasta in the water together, and and vegetables. We never ate fresh vegetables. They were all out of a can and dumped straight in the pot and cooked. And I didn't know any better for the longest time. And that's part of the story. The other part of the story is I started working in restaurants as a busboy when I was really young. Hated being a busboy, and I got moved into the kitchen. And then I was working in kitchens to pay for school. I was going to school for computer science. And somewhere along the line, I started tasting what food could be. And I started to learn the difference between, like, I thought mushrooms were disgusting, because the only mushrooms I'd ever seen came out of a can, went in the pot, got boiled in whatever that liquid is. They sit in a can, and then they're on the dinner table. And then all of a sudden, you taste your first sauteed fresh mushroom, you're like, wow, this is delicious. I grew up eating spinach out of a can, like, I don't know, it's gross,
Was there an epiphany moment?
No, I think it was just like a gradual, like starting to realize that like food can, aside from the fact that like you need, your body needs it, like it can be an incredible source of pleasure.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like,
I do.
And I started realizing like, wow, I don't, like, there could be more to it. And then, I started, then from there I started to work in some, I started working in better restaurants. I decided that the computer science thing wasn't for me. And I started trying to just really hone in on the building blocks of cooking. Like, why does this steak taste better than this steak? Like, why does this piece of fish taste better than this piece of fish? And start to learn, how to season something, how to cook something, and just focus in on the differences. Like when you see something or you taste it, like, why is this better than that? Why is this giving me more pleasure? And how can I focus in to get there?
Now, is this a skill that's within you, within us? And how did you
I think it's,
get there?
yeah, I don't know. I think it's like I try to focus on things. Like I think you can either taste something passively or you can taste something in a focused manner. And if you're paying attention to what you're eating, I think you're understanding what you're tasting more so than if you're just putting food in your mouth, chewing and swallowing, and not thinking about what you're actually doing.
So eating for pleasure, not for sustenance.
Yeah, and just I guess being aware and being cognizant of what it is.
Wait, that doesn't mean eating to be gluttonous. I mean, that's
No.
eating to be mindful and.
Yeah, I mean it's the same thing. One example I've used with cooks is like, how you like sometimes you read a page and you got a ton of shit on your mind. You read the page, you get to the bottom of the page, and you have absolutely no idea what you read, and you have to go back and read it again. I feel like a lot of people eat like that. Like they eat the food, but ultimately they have no idea what they ate, or they drink the wine and they have no idea what they drank. Whereas like it's, if you take the time to read and read the words, then you get a story, and then the story can be awesome. And it's, I think it's just a matter of like, it's like just a way of life of focusing on what's happening and why things are different.
A little more hedonistic eyes on the food and the romance. And turn the ringer off, dim the lights,
Yeah.
get the nice
Yeah.
thing, and just.
Yeah. Pay attention, like focus, be in it,
And I know because we're both dads. We both have different children. As in, my son's a picky eater, and your kids eat right off the menu from the beginning.
We never gave them a choice. I mean, dinner was always what's on the table, and that's it. And if you don't like the vegetable, you don't like the salad, you don't like whatever you don't like, pick the things you do like, and taste everything, and eventually they start to like it. I mean, it's still, some things are not always easy, like they're still particular with vegetables, but for the most part, they're pretty good eaters, yeah. But it's
That's a good gift. My son has the gift, but he just doesn't want to. He's too hypercritical. He'll be a great restaurant reviewer.
okay.
But pouting at dinner is we're about to get over that stage now.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting talking with you because of course we spoke, he picked out the wines prior, and we had a lot of conversations, but coming from your mouth about the passion of mindfulness, the how to, you believe that everyone has the skill to taste and to cook, if just given the opportunity to take a deep breath and concentrate.
Yeah.
Or don't
so.
be distracted, right?
I mean, I think everybody has different palates. I mean, some people smell things better than others. I mean, that's just, some people taste things better than others. I mean, things like food and stuff can change. I mean, and it's all, but at the same time, like, I find that, like, there's an element of, like, a lot of times, like, something may taste great today and taste different tomorrow, and it might be as much your mindset or, other stresses that are going on that inform your opinion of that than other things, it's like,
Oh yeah.
I don't know. It's like, I don't know, like, it's, I obviously I think everybody, yeah, I don't know. I think everybody's palates are different, or they can be trained or learned. But I think it starts with paying attention to what you're eating or drinking.
The same thing with wines, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think so, definitely. I mean, if you're just, you see some of these people now. We allow people to bring their own wine with no cork to the restaurant. So you get people that come in that are super into it, and they're all, so now the new one is you get some of these people that are coming in and they're doing these wine tastings, and they're also got these like goofy like som kits where they're like, they're trying to smell like whatever and then try to pick that out in the wine. And it's like interesting how they're trying to train their palate like that. But at the same point, like I think if they're just more mindful, then they can place the things better. It's like, yeah.
Well, you have a very good opportunity, with your farm to table type of daily menu, and also the no corkage fee. So that really kind of, no one just happens to trip upon your restaurant.
Yeah.
I know all my customers and us as well plan.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, we're in a backward spot. I mean, that's always the funny thing when you get somebody that comes in and they have no idea what the restaurant's about or why they're there, and it's like kind of like, we're not really like a place you're just driving by and you're like, let's try this place. Like I'm always a little caught off guard by that. I mean, it's like it's in a backwards area towards a neighborhood and stuff, but but for the most part, people know what they're coming in for, and they, it's good. I mean, you can't complain with that stuff. Yeah.
All right. So with our chef 6, you guys, you all remember my story. Don't trust me. Don't trust a spectator. Trust your chef. So Eric went around the room and found these 6 wines that he thinks that people should try because of. Tag, you're it. What do you want to tell us about?
Okay. I mean, generally we'll start with the Rouet. I think everyone should drink more champagne.
Agreed.
I think when you drink champagne, it's great. It goes with just about anything. I mean, you can drink champagne with breakfast. You can drink champagne on its own. You can drink champagne with a burger in the backyard. But it makes everything like a little more celebratory, and I don't know. And I think the Gruet one in particular, I think you're getting champagne quality product at half the price.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
cool climate. They do Chardonnay, Pinot Noir. They do the Champagne wine method. Good sparkling wine doesn't have any boundaries. So yeah, we agree too that bubbles always are fun.
Yeah.
It's very versatile.
Yeah.
And just kind of puts a smile on people's faces.
I remember when I went out on my first date with my wife, like, we just met, we're going out to date, we're having dinner, pasta, and I ordered a bottle of champagne. She's like, and then she's like, oh, you guys celebrate anything? Like, celebrating summer. It's like, you drink champagne, it's good.
It's Tuesday.
It's the perfect way to start a meal. I don't know. Perfect way to start a meal, perfect way when you're not having a meal. I don't know. It's champagne is, I don't know. Just average drink more champagne. More sparkling wine.
We have a large call for under $40 sparkling wines because you want the champagne taste, but you want to have the Tuesday prices.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the greatest thing with this particular wine is it gives you the ability to drink like champagne type wine more often. Where it's like sometimes I think the Cavas or the Proseccos could be a little different. The bubbles are different. It's sometimes I don't know. I just think that the character you get with these wines,
the American sparklers, Cavas, Proseccos, international Cremants.
Yeah.
You do have to taste through and find out which is the best quality because the range is wide.
Yeah.
But that's what we do for you.
Yeah.
For Deco.
Next one I picked was the Verdicchio. I like these wines a lot. I just think they're awesome. Great food wines. They got good acidity to them, great minerality with them. Yeah, they're great with shellfish. They almost have like a saline kind of quality to them. I actually haven't tasted this particular one before, but I saw it was a Kermit Lynch import, and I can't remember tasting something bad that he brought in.
Yeah. Yeah, he's the one of the premier detectives of uncovering gems through Europe, and this selection, as we talked before, is like it also has a little that more tactile mouthfeel, and it's really outstanding for the quality because it really just has this brightness and balance to it. And then we went to Leaf Cellars.
I wanted to pick something representative of Long Island, and I think that this wine is really solid. I think it's a great Pinot Blanc, and I had it recently upstate at the Bruce for dinner. They paired it with their oyster course, and so it kind of had like a fond recent memory in my mind, which just made it kind of pop right out. I'm like, it was really super tasty, great food wine.
Yeah, this is their original styled wine. This Lieb's Pinot Blanc was originally bottled at Lens.
Okay.
So it was called Lens Lieb Cellars Pinot Blanc, and this kind of really launched their career from just being a grower into a winery. And yes, a lot of times the oysters, Long Island oysters, Peconic pearls, what goes together, what grows together goes together. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely.
Then we go over to Italy for Aglianico.
I really enjoy Aglianicos. I think they're awesome. A little bit south, so but at the same time, like they just typically they have this great fruit up front, but they got great tannins, a little bit of acidity. They're awesome food wines. I think they pair well with a wide range of foods, and they're just awesome. And I think they typically represent great value, and they're wines that age a little bit really well too for the price point. Like sometimes it's I find they evolve pretty well over a couple of years. I think they're awesome.
Yeah, they do. They look like the Nebbiolo of the South.
Yeah.
That high acid, great tannin structure. Again, versatility across your menu.
And they're a little more accessible, I think, sometimes than Aglianicos, like right out of the bottle when
The Nebbiolos?
Nebbiolos, yes, thank you, excuse me. Like they're a little bit more accessible right out of the bottle and when they're younger, and they're, less expensive than buying Barolo or Barbaresca, for sure.
Agreed. And then we move over to Spain.
I went with the Baronio Rioja. I think Riojas typically are just great, great food wines. They're awesome. I think they represent extraordinary value for the complexity of the wines, the depth of the palate. It just evolves over. It gives you great elegance. The Baronio one, I haven't tasted it in a little while, but we were talking about before, and it's a little bit more like it's somewhere in the middle of the really old guard style Riojas and some of the newer stuff that are a little bit more fruity. So it's kind of I think you're going to get that acidity that us chefs love because it pairs well with food, but you're also going to get a little more of that fruit that makes it a little bit more accessible.
There's a kiss of fruit up front, but there's also the acidity and tannins for chef.
Yeah.
And we were talking before about black pepper.
Yeah.
With the red wines, the acidity and the tannins, that little dryness, that's the black pepper of America. We were laughing that sometimes you don't even touch your food and there's somebody with a...
Yeah, with the peppermint. It's like, how do I know if I want pepper? I haven't tasted it. I have no idea. It's always my joke. My wife thinks it's funny too. But like it's, if you thought it needed more pepper, maybe you should have put it on already. That's my take on it. But I think that it's nice when you can balance your food with your wine as opposed to like trying to add other things to it. I mean, it's I think that's too, like a lot of times like chefs, like we try to, when we're trying to work food and wine pairings, we try to stick, more balanced with both items. You try not to, go too, too aggressively flavored one way or the other, or you try to think about it as a whole package. Like I want to, if I'm getting, if I'm having my salad with high acid, like then I want a wine that's going to be maybe a little bit richer, a little buttery, or if I'm, my food is really rich and I want a little bit more acid in my food to kind of balance it all out. So
it's like a musical chord.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking for a full palate experience. It's like the whole, it's always you want to have the food and the wine evolving on your palate at the same time. So it's that they're working hand in hand and they're making each other better. I mean, that's the goal, right? That the wine makes the food better, the food makes the wine better, and then you're really doing well.
But every chef kind of thinks that's what they want to do. But Dan, you really put that together. I mean, we've had some moments where you put down your knife and fork and go, ooh.
Try. I mean, we put a lot of thought into it, and we taste things. I mean, again, it goes back to trying to cognitively taste things. Like, well, what is going on in my palate here? And what else does this need? It's when you're making a salad and you say, oh, it needs to drop more vinegar in it. It's the same thing if you're trying to pair food and wine. Like, you know, what food is going to work with this wine, like what, or vice versa, what wine is going to work with this food. And it's, you know, trying to understand that, like, you're looking for that, you know, ultimately that balanced palate feel.
Yeah, with theory and practicality, that's the part of the art. Is actually knowing all that, but then having your hands understand your palate.
Yeah.
That's the gift that you have.
Thank you. I'll try.
And the last one is the Chianti.
I just love Sangiovese, and I mean, this Chianti is year in and year out. It's great. It's, you know, it's a at this price point, it's just a benchmark. You know, consistently solid Chianti. Like, it's great. I mean, it's something we almost always have on the list at Orto, and it's just always good. It's never bad. I mean, Sangiovese is great.
No, the San Felice, just one of those benchmark producers. It's not as popular as most of the brands out there, but the quality and the way the wine comes across, vintage after vintage, is just outstanding.
It's one thing I don't understand why it's not more popular. You don't see it everywhere. I guess it's a marketing thing, but I don't always understand that stuff. But yeah, it's the Santa Margarita thing, you know. Everybody thinks Santa Margarita Pinot Grigio is great. I'm like, yeah, okay.
That's a different story. So with our Chef 6, we put them together as a package. We discount them 15%. So if you bought these wines individually, they'd be $111. With the 15% discount, it's almost a $17 savings. $94.35. Add the tax, you're out the door for under $102. It's about $16 a bottle. So you buy them as a package, and you can take a little tour and understand, you know, how the chef wants you to discover food and wine and how it goes together. So thank you for this. It was great catching up with you, and it was always fun when we sat down. And you're always accessible and always interested in trying wines. And I always respected that you were able to pick up more than most people the nuances, the balance, and the reference points. And you always had a dish in mind when you were different things. So you were a great customer of mine because of that conversation and your passion.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you.
So thank you again.
My pleasure.
So Orto in Miller Place, find yourself there soon, and you can bring your own bottle of wine with no corkage.
Absolutely.
So great value.
Definitely.
Thanks again.
Thank you.